What did someone do that you were not expecting that made you go from zero to horny in an instant? So this happened many years ago. My girlfriend and I were going to dinner with a group of friends. One guy rode with us to the restaurant. I don't remember why, but something happened and I was in a bad mood on the way home. I was driving, my GF was in the passenger seat and our friend was in the back. I wasn't paying attention to my friend or GF, just driving. Suddenly my GF puts her finger in my mouth. At first I was like, what the hell? But then I tasted it. She had fingered herself and stuck her wet finger in my mouth. Wow, I went from bad mood to instant horniness. Needless to say, I stepped on the gas, got rid of our friend and then my GF and I went at it. It was totally unexpected and still something that gets me going when I think about it. When I first started dating my boyfriend, we were cuddling on his bed and I was starting to fall asleep. He started whispering French into my ear. He's French, so it's not like that came as a shock to me, but it woke me up real quick. I don't, yet, speak French, so for all I know, he was saying his grocery list and I was like, drooling over it. Reminds me of the old Tumblr post where the girl loved her BF talking dirty to her in Bulgarian or something during sex until one time she caught the word tomato, and he admitted he was giving instructions on how to make a salad. That is absolutely amazing. The forwardness of my now wife when we got together. We got together at a party. I wasn't in a particularly great place at the time, but went out for some fresh air. We were talking, she lit a cigarette and said, "Are we going to your room or what?" Apparently I liked that she knew what she wanted. 20 years later, she doesn't smoke, but now she can never decide where we're going to eat. 1.6k. We never can. Also, I did something similar to my, now, husband, but we were at work. I don't know what I want to eat, you pick. No, not that place, I don't feel like pizza. No, I don't feel like burgers either. No, I'm not so sure about chicken. Ribs. Nah. For deciding on food you need to time it between, I'm not even thinking about food, and, I'm so hungry I don't really care, but also so hungry that every suggestion will make me feel nauseous. I'm the same with deciding on food, and at either of the above stages I can't make a decision. If I've just started feeling a bit hungry, but I'm not ready to eat, I can usually decide. If your partner usually eats at the same time every day, then this should happen around the same time as well. Just after feeling a bit hungry is usually when my mind goes to, I feel like X today. If you know you're planning on ordering food in, or going out, remind her earlier on and just say to think about where to go. It won't solve the problem for every time, but these things work for me. Had a similar experience, but it flew over my dense ass. Was bartending at a ski resort and ended up at an after party. Asked if she had a smoke, she didn't, but bummed two from her friend and we went out. She clearly didn't smoke. She asked where I stayed and I said it was far. You can stay here if you want. Nah, it's cool, I'll figure it out. I think I was too distracted by, why the fuck is she out here smoking with me when she clearly doesn't smoke? Take a cue from the OP's wife. Stick your finger in something and ask if she want to eat that. Might work. It did for her winking face. Once I was walking with a guy and I was a little tipsy and I went to walk in the wrong direction and he just pulled me firmly in the right direction and just like repositioned me to walk the right way and I was ready for him to take me right there, lol. Something so hot about being just like nonchalantly physically controlled like that in a non-sexual situation, IDK. It's so hot when they're affirmative and protective but not in an annoying way. Did this once to a girl in college. Walking back past a stadium late from the same party, said screw it and grabbed her hand to bring her closer, started making out, which lead to second base, then went inside an empty ticket booth and had some fun. WYM ticket booth. Like a makeshift little wooden booth near the stadium gate, they would sell tickets out to the games. Only had room for maybe 3 people standing together, but we made it work. I had gotten new earrings and so I was showing them off at school to my friend. He then puts both of his hands around my neck to have a closer look, and that was the moment I found out I was super attracted to this guy. I'm very sensitive around my neck and for him to put his hands there just instantly turned me on. I have had several guys who are just my friends jokingly put their hands around my neck and it immediately gets my heart racing. An unexpected yes sir. Being called sir is a huge turn on, and in my BDSM life is usually a sign that the person who says it is feeling submissive towards me. I'm now getting to the age where younger lawyers sometimes call me sir in a professional context, and when the lawyer in question is a hot 20-something woman, it can be a bit distracting. The only people who ever called me sir were asking me to leave. Sir, this is a Wendy's. I asked a male friend to massage my back since I was in pain that day. It went well until his hands were on my nape. I jerked and stood up, telling him abruptly that I already feel fine and I had an errand to do that I forgot. That day I realized how sensitive my nape is. Also, those hands were damn good. Can I ask how you so casually asked for a massage like that? I would feel so awkward, unless you were really close with this dude. I am close friends with him. Also, he's very touchy-feely, so I think he doesn't mind people asking massages from him. During winter season, GF was in college in another town. She was coming home for the weekend. I went to pick her up at the ferry terminal. She had a short overcoat on, her legs and knees showing. We hugged, kissed, got to the car. She said she is warm in the car and proceeded to take her coat off. She had nothing under her coat. It's not the first time I picked her up. It's not the first time she had that overcoat on. I can imagine that. Sad part is, I drive stick, so I didn't get to play a lot on the drive home. Longest drive ever. My chiropractor, who I already had a crush on, had me on my back and twisted my hip over so my leg was laying across me, and he leaned completely onto my leg and was almost on top of me to crack my spine. Like his whole upper body and hips were pressed into me and his neck was right in my face. That, and he did something weird to a muscle deep in my hip, so his fingers were dug into my pelvis, hip, working the muscle as I moved my leg in certain positions to stretch it. Hard to describe both of those situations and positions I was in, but boy did I want to be in naughtier positions with him right then lol. Same, my chiropractor is only like 10 years older than me, and when he does that I can't relax, so he has to keep reminding me to. Doesn't help HES so goddamn strong and muscular. Sounds exactly like my guy lol, he's about 10 years older than me too and super ripped and has such pretty eyes. At one point when he was doing the hip thing my legs started shaking and he started laughing and was like, "Oh, why your legs shaking?" And I played stupid like, him, wow weird, I have no idea. Like, you're touching me in a fairly intimate way and you're gorgeous and my mind is wandering lol. One time when I was hanging out with my ex-boyfriend I got up and told him I was going to go to the bathroom and he jokingly replied, "No you're not," and that's when I found out I have a control kink. A guy the first was not especially attracted to, not an unattractive guy, just didn't really do it for me. Gave me a hug once and I felt his beard on my neck, and that's when I found out that beards on my neck turn my legs to jelly. I literally had to go to the toilet to calm down. Goddamn. Men with beards. Fan self. Okay word, there was this one dude I worked with who I didn't really think of in that way. Until he hugged my one day and I could feel his arms and he was unexpectedly jacked, and from that moment on I was dumb as fuck every time I was around him. LMAO 408. Him and honey mustard, apparently. Maybe he was honey mustard. My friend and I were video chatting today. We were just talking about random stuff when all of a sudden he stopped and said, "By the way, you look so gorgeous." Not only was I incredibly flattered, but the way he said it was so sexy and got me instantly wet. Tell him, smiley face. Tell him. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why. I never want to hear you say, "I want it that way." Number 5 killed my brother. I had an ex who had just had a way of touching me. She got her hands under my shirt and just ran her hands from my stomach to my chest, which made me quiver. Never experienced this kind of touch since then. Drives me nuts just thinking about it. Sadly, she was a manipulative woman. She was that good, huh? I know the feel. Some time ago when I left work I went straight to my ex-GF house. I was dying tired, had a huge 12/8 shift. Just wanted to chill and watch some TV having a beer. When I was on couch on a dad's position watching the news drinking beer, she appears on the corner eating an apple. Weirdest boner of all time. From this day now on, I know that women making that crack sound while eating apples turn me on. Weird boner, but okay. I definitely read that as had a 12-inch shaft, lol. Me, my girlfriend, and my friend, standing in a corner, getting really high. I am a dom, and I am particularly into slapping, when asked for. My friend says her face is sorta numb, asks me to slap her. I don't really know how that would help. But I don't care, she's weird like that, that's why we're friends. She doesn't know about my kink and we're like ultra platonic. Can't possibly see her in sexual light, we're like brothers. I did, lightly. She said harder. I did harder. She said harder once more. I did, again. Now it's important to stress, I am not at all attracted to her. At all. We are just really close friends for years and we legit just call one another disgusting fucks. We have never even had a sexual innuendo talk. Purely platonic. But that was the first time I felt so turned on with her in the context. It soon faded because she said thanks, dick nuts, I love that girl a lot, as my friend. But that was a weird moment for me to be that turned on with her in the context. There's a lot to unpack here. My first wife was very against anything going near her ass, but then one day on impulse she bought a book of erotic stories at Barnes & Noble which it turned out were all about anal. She was in the living room reading and I was working in my office when she walked in and said, "I want you to fuck me in the ass right now." I was blown away and did just that, right there on the floor of my office. After that she was really into it, even bought herself some anal toys and sent me a picture of her using them on her own. That was hands down the most raw, passionate sex we ever had. Gonna need the title of that book. And his first wife's phone number. I went to a party with my girlfriend who was wearing a very tight little black dress and high heels. She looked amazing. A couple of hours in I was talking to a group of guys and I hadn't seen her in a while. She walks over to me and whispers in my ear, "You know that I can't wear underwear with this dress," and gives me the hottest, "fuck me now," look that I've ever received. As she walked away she looked back and gave me the "follow me" finger wave. Needless to say, I followed her to the nearest available room and aggressively removed that dress, but not the heels. You can imagine what happened next. You fixed the cable. At least something got screwed. Little premise, I'm a sub. So I was walking around at a Renaissance fair and there was a beeswax lotion stand that I walked by and a gorgeous woman stepped in my path and told me, stop now. Put this on your hands. Put it on your cuticles. Put it on your nipples for all I care, but you will get this. By God, if my boyfriend and I didn't go directly into the shop with my panties soaking wet. Kinky girl at a Ren fair. Who'da think it? Winking face. A guy the first had been casually sleeping with for a couple of months, and I went on a date to this Nepalese restaurant, but before we ventured out for dinner we fooled around on my bed. He commented on how he loves the way I taste and smell. Fast forward to dinner, we finished up. Just sitting there, drinking the last of the wine and talking about whatever, and he raises the hand he fingered me with just hours before, puts 2 fingers into his mouth and says, see, still delicious. Do you want to get out of here? Yes, I want to get out of here. I've done something like that. Some women's pussies smell just so good, and the smell or the pheromones or my brain's sensitivity to the pheromones is just so strong, that I can smell her on my fingers hours later and instantly get aroused. Your username is well suited to you then.